I wonder why 125cc motorcycles have such terrifying names. Raider. I think of sacked cities, plunder, and destruction. Extreme. And now we're talking about the surface of the sun or the extreme cold of space. And these motorcycles, they're basically sweet, calm, gentle, and usually capable. And that's why, at least on the name front, I am thankful Bajaj has stopped at calling this the Pulsar N125. And for new, nothing new, notable, noticeable, non-fungible, let's find out. The aspirational 125, as I like to call it, Honda tried it first with the Stunner, and at that point, Hero had the Igniter. Wow, these names were so far out, we thought Shine, Glamour, these were good names. But the time of the more than just a commuter 125, I think it arrived with the Raider a few years ago. And obviously, that implies that there would be rivals. Today, you have the Hero Extreme 125R and that. Now, if this story is not right up your alley because you have no interest in this motorcycle, what you should know is this is a brand new Pulsar that shares nothing with any of the current Pulsars at all. It was designed from scratch to be light, effortless, and slick. And it works. This is an easy motorcycle to ride. It's smooth and effortless in almost all situations. It's great in the city, and you're going to have fun. It's a good all-rounder in a class of good all-rounders. It does have some truly odd stuff going on, but if you bought one, I think you'd be happy. And if you bought one of the rivals, 125R or the Raider, I think you'd be just about exactly as happy. That's a story for another time. What you should know is that the N125, it's a sweetheart. It makes 12 PS, which is about as powerful as anything in the class, but it is one of the lightest bikes in the class. Just remember that the basic 125 commuters, Shine, Glamour, on average they're 10 kilos lighter than these. This engine is brand new and it's shockingly smooth. You have to get to 95 kilometers an hour or faster for some vibration to finally make an appearance. Oddly enough, through the seat and directly up your bum. But below that, butter smooth. On the highway, 85 kilometers an hour steady, the engine's quiet, there's no vibration and no sense of strain. This is a really likable engine with two quirks. First, roll off the throttle at really low speeds, roll it back on again, jerk. In super slow traffic, it can make the experience feel a little herky-jerky. To me, not a deal breaker, but there is room to smoothen this out further. Second, this has a nice broad spread of torque, but there's a step in the middle. And that step, it'll keep tempting you to downshift to make gear changes, and therefore you'll think that it's not as flexible an engine as it is. If you're a sporty rider, I think your default will always be to downshift once, sometimes twice, to make an overtake. But if you're a patient rider, you'll discover slowly with time that you can overtake anything without really having to change gears. If you do that, the N125 will not feel rapid, but it also will not feel languid. What I'm saying is, the powertrain really comes together. Slick light gearbox, light clutch effort. It's very slick and it's very impressive. Adding to that sense of smoothness is the suspension setup. It's a budget setup, spindly telescopic forks, preload adjustable rear monoshock, but it's a well-tuned setup. Over small bumps, you'll encounter a lot of those. It's slick, it's controlled, and it makes the roads feel smoother. Brilliant. Larger bumps, it's not quite so great with, but it does enough of control over there for you to not really complain. And if you jump a speed breaker, think of it as taking a really large hit. Doesn't really bottom out either. This is going to feel impressive. And the seat will ruin that impression in just about 20 minutes time. See, the seat is low. It's 795 millimeters, which is good. The seat is made of very stiff foam, which I think is excellent. It means it'll take 1,000-2,000 kilometers to settle down. And once it settles, it won't change its shape and will be one of the most comfortable seats you've ever used. Yes, I know it's counterintuitive. But the shape of the seat is a proper facepalm. See, it slopes from back to front just enough to force you into one riding position. And that's fine if that's your natural riding position. If it's not, it's going to hurt. And it's made worse by the profile of the seat, which is vaguely convex. And what that means is the highest point of the seat is right in the middle of your bum cheeks. That's guaranteed to cause pain. And I'm not joking. If you'd like to know more why, you should look up why bicycle seats, like racing bicycle seats, they have channels that run down the middle. But combine all of these things together, the stiff foam on the seat, the great suspension setup, the potential comfort of the N125 is sky high. But if you ride long stints, it can't quite deliver. The one place where you won't remember the seat because you'll be having fun, it's the corners. This is an all-new chassis and it's a good one. These tires can look a little bit skinny, and this is the top model with the wider rear tire, but they are grippy. Caveat, we've not tested them in the wet. This chassis has predictable, trustworthy responses, and that combines really well with that lack of weight. So you'll always think of the N125 as alert and as having quick reactions. And that means on a twisty road, you're going to enjoy the riding a lot, and in traffic, capitalizing on gaps. It just happens without effort. Just excellent. And the brakes, they're just as good, powerful enough feedback, and both the variants have a front disc as standard. Bajaj has missed a trick in not offering single-channel ABS at all on the N125. That option, its existence, it makes the Extreme 125R much easier to recommend. So what's wrong with it? To be honest with you, not a lot. But the design, it causes some hilarity and it leaves some useful stuff right there on the table. First, the fork sleeves. You know, there's a photograph, there's a person at the back, nobody is quite sure what their name is, but they're always telling you they're a Kardashian. That's fake. This is fake. Fake around and find out is not a good strategy for designing motorcycles. The telescopic forks are spindly. So what? So are many teenagers. Should we give them all muscle suits too? The sleeves also cause a functional defect. There's no way for you to tell what the condition of your forks is. There's supposedly a gap for inspection. It's between the two triple clamps. It's useless. And that means the only way you'll discover your fork seals have leaked is oil running down the leg. Oil running down the leg, that's an image you don't need in your head. Honestly, I'd take these offending things off, find a cardboard box, a ribbon and a bow, write return gift and send it right back to Bajaj. Second, straight-faced, I was told that the rectangular hole in the middle of the grab rail is weight-saving. Kudos for that straight face and absolutely none for that half-thought-through hole. You know, it would be so much more useful to have one more hole. It would just make securing things to the pillion seat on your commute every day to college or work so much simpler. Yes, it's a sporty 125, I get it. It's still going to be used for commuting. So we could have got a grab rail that did more things for us, but no, we get this one half thought through hole. To me, the people who design these things, they're just doing a job. They don't ride motorcycles enough. They've not struggled with a heavy backpack on a hot day. They've never stopped to think, how do I improve a rider's life? Despite these two silly misses, the Pulsar N125 is an interesting addition to this market. I've thoroughly enjoyed riding it. I was not a fan of the design to start with, but time spent, I think there are interesting design elements on this motorcycle too. What I really like is that it has a sense of lightness but doesn't lose its sense of size. The latter, the Hero Extreme 125R also has. And it really does cover most of its bases. I saw the headlight, I thought Honda X-Blade and I forgot about it. It later occurred to me, that's not a bad headlight, it's bright enough. It also has that Bajaj trait that I like to call Deja Vu. You see, sit on the motorcycle, turn it on, look at the instrument and say, hey, I've seen that before. And good luck figuring out where, because there might be 16, 17 motorcycles wearing that exact instrument cluster. But I'm very proud, I spotted those indicators and immediately went, I know, Freedom 125 NG04. But all of this parts sharing and cost cutting, I'm glad it doesn't directly affect the perceived quality of the N125. Bajaj's basic quality levels have been going up, especially over the last couple of years, and despite all of this motorcycle doesn't feel cheap or flimsy. The only problem we've had, and this is an early production unit, is the M button. Something inside the cluster broke and the button actually fell in, and we had to open it and repair it. But that aside, whatever we put this motorcycle through during testing, it's not even rattled. That's very good. Which is why I said right at the start, if you get yourself a Bajaj Pulsar N125, you're going to be happy. But would you buy one over the Hero Extreme 125R, over the TVS Raider? That's a much more difficult question to answer because all three motorcycles have clear strengths and obvious weaknesses. We need a balanced story to answer the question. Can the N125 raid TVS's sales or have an extreme effect on Hero? I know, that's not a very clever sentence, but it's an effective one. Just like these sweet little 125s.